Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Reckon Product Suite and Single Touch Payroll. My name is Andrea Suarez, and I'm one of the Customer Success Managers here at Reckon, and I'll be presenting today's webinar. So today's webinar will run for approximately 1 hour. So generally, we leave some time for questions at the end after the presentation. Just a quick disclaimer. So the contents of this webinar is of general nature and is for guidance only. So here at Reckon, we don't provide professional or taxation advice. Viewers need to consult with a professional advisor for advice on their specific circumstances. Just a few housekeeping before I get started on the Single Touch Payroll webinar. So you'll note that all microphones are muted during this presentation, and you can only hear myself. If you need to ask a question during this presentation or during this webinar, feel free to go to the website slido.com and enter in the event code STP19. Again, that event code is STP19, and then that website is slido.com. So all our questions will be answered at the end of this presentation. So when you're in slido.com and you've entered in that event code STP19, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to see all the other attendees' questions. It's just to avoid any repeat questions and see what other attendees have asked. But what you can do is you can click the like button if you have the same question as another attendee. To minimize your panel, you can use your webinar panel by clicking on the red arrow so that it minimizes the panel and you'll be able to see a full view screen of this webinar. And just one last thing, so we will have this webinar recording on our YouTube channel. So that YouTube channel is youtube.com/Reckon Ltd, so that you have something to refer to after this webinar. Okay, so basically in today's session, I'll go through how to sign up for Reckon GovConnect and what it is, as well as setting up your multi-factor authentication. I'll also go through some key information to prepare your company file on Reckon accounts and your Reckon One book. If you need to share your Reckon account GovConnect with other users, I'll show you how to do that as well. Where to find your software ID and how to register this to the ATO. And I'll also go through some frequently asked questions and just some key STP resources for you to take away after this webinar. So to be ready for Single Touch Payroll, generally we just give these key checklists. So just ensure that you've signed up to Reckon GovConnect STP. Ensure that you have upgraded to Reckon Accounts Hosted 2019 or Reckon Accounts Desktop 2019 if you haven't done so already. And then also register your GovConnect software ID to the ATO. And it's just learning the process on how to export the file from whichever Reckon software you're using and uploading it to GovConnect STP. So these are basically just the 4 key steps to get yourself set up for Reckon STP. So just to go over it again, just ensure you sign up to Reckon GovConnect STP. If you're using Reckon accounts, anything older than 2017, just ensure you have upgraded to our latest version. Registering your GovConnect software ID to the ATO, and then learning how to export the payroll file from Reckon software and uploading it to GovConnect STP. Okay, so by now you already know that Single Touch Payroll is now for all businesses. Last year they have only made it for businesses with 20 or more employees. It is now for every single business that has at least 1 or more employees. So I did talk about GovConnect. So just to explain further, what exactly is GovConnect? So basically, you can see in this diagram here, it basically acts as a gateway. So it connects all of the Reckon payroll products, and you can use GovConnect to submit all your payroll information directly to the ATO. You can also just manage and review the information before you submit to the ATO. And basically, it's a platform that you use to communicate with the ATO as well. So they'll basically give you any updated statuses on your submissions. So this is just a screenshot of what GovConnect STP looks like. This is just a sample screenshot if you have all products, if you are a Reckon partner. If you just, if you are an end user, so if you're a small business or a business owner, you'll only be able to see just the one product that you're currently using, which makes sense because you only need to see the one product you're using. It also shows the list of pay runs you've submitted to the ATO, and it also gives you all the status updates and also the updated figures as well that the ATO has. Just a little bit more information about what is GovConnect. So it's actually free to use for everyone. The reason we made it free to use for everyone is just in any case you need multiple users using GovConnect to submit SCP to the ATO. In order to have GovConnect though, you do need a Reckon portal account. So to access Reckon portal, the website is portal.reckon.com. And it's basically its own individual product, and it opens independently. So I'll go into further detail of the whole process. So just to give an overall picture, this is basically what the Reckon SCP process looks like. So the first step is creating the GovConnect STP account. Then it's configuring, enabling and configuring for STP in your company file or Reckon One book. It's also completing the pay run and exporting the STP file, and then it's reviewing and submitting in GovConnect to the ATO. So just one thing to note here, so I will go into detail of each step, but basically the first two steps, that's basically just the whole setup process first before you submit STP. So once you have the first two steps all set up, basically the simple process is to complete the pay run and then export the STP file to Reckon GovConnect and then submit STP within Reckon GovConnect. Okay, so let's go through the first step. So how do you create a GovConnect STP account and set up your MFA, which is your multi-factor authentication? So for those who've joined in a bit later, just a reminder that if you need to ask a question, go to slido.com and enter in the event code STP19. Okay, so let's get started on the first step. So to sign up to Reckon GovConnect, as I mentioned earlier, you do need a Reckon portal account. So that website is portal.reckon.com. It's free for everyone to use as well. In any case, you need multiple staff or multiple users using the same, managing STP for you. So basically, when you're in portal.reckon.com, if you're a new user, you'll notice that you have the option of signing in with Google or signing in with Office 365. So we call this the single sign-on process. And what that basically means is if you have a Gmail account, you can use your existing credentials to sign in. If you have a Microsoft or Outlook account, again, you can use your existing credentials to sign in to the portal. If you don't have Gmail or Office 365, you can click on register for free. And what that basically does is it allows you to nominate any email address you want to use and then creating that password. So if you are using Reckon One or Reckon Cloud POS, you can just use your login, existing login details because you already have the Reckon Portal account. Okay, so once you've signed into the Reckon Portal account, you'll notice on the left-hand side here, we've got the menu. So you've got the My Products and Available Products. So Reckon GovConnect is what we need to click on first to set up the GovConnect account. If you need to add multiple GovConnect accounts, so say for example, you're using more than one ABN, you can basically go to Add Product and then click on Reckon GovConnect. So once the very first time you click on Reckon GovConnect, we actually prompt you to set up your MFA. So MFA is your multi-factor authentication. So this message will pop up the first time you log in. So just to explain a bit further on multi-factor authentication, for those who aren't familiar what it is, it's an example is just say, if you use online banking or if you currently use MyGov, you'll be sent a text message or something like that to verify that you are the user. This is pretty much the same process. So the ATO has made it a mandatory requirement that we do implement an MFA within the software. So any payroll provider or software provider that's dealing with the ATO directly will need to have MFA. So key notes here with MFA. So MFA is at a user level. So you shouldn't really be sharing your MFA code with anyone else. If you need another user or another staff member to manage single touch payroll, what you need to do is you need to get them to sign up to the Reckon portal and set up their MFA so that they can have their own login details, and you'll be able to share your STP with them anyway. So you're just managing the one STP. With MFA, you won't be able to use MFA both on a PC and smartphone. So I'll go through what options you have in a moment. And then just ensuring if you do use the Authenticator app, just ensure that you don't delete it until you have revoked the access. So in further detail, so what options do you have for MFA? So we have three options. Basically, the SMS text feature, which is the most popular option. Otherwise, if you don't want to use the SMS text feature, you can download the Authenticator app on your smartphone, whether you use iPhone, Android, or Google. And if you don't want to use a mobile phone or you don't have a mobile phone, you can install Google Authenticator on Chrome. Okay, so I'll go through how to set up MFA with each option. So setting up MFA using the SMS text feature. So once you have been prompted to set up your MFA, what you need to do is you need to enter in your mobile phone number, send the code, and that 6-digit code will be sent to your mobile, and then you enter in that 6-digit code within that space and then verify. If you don't want to use the SMS text feature, you can click on I want to use Google Authenticator instead. So, which brings me to the next option, which is setting up MFA using Google Authenticator. So once you've installed Authenticator on your phone, again, this is a free application on your smartphone, you launch the app, and what you'll need to do is you need to scan that QR code from your phone. And say, for example, this is my mobile, it'll actually generate a 6-digit code for you to enter, and then you enter in that 6-digit code. Okay, so setting up MFA via Google Authenticator. So if you don't want to use your mobile phone or you don't have a mobile phone, you can set up multi-factor authentication using a Chrome extension. So if you're using a Chrome browser, what you can do is you can install Authenticator on your PC. So if you Google Chrome's web store and search for Authenticator, you'll be able to download it and add it to your Chrome. So what will happen is it actually acts as a little Chrome extension on the top right, and then you can basically use it on any PC or laptop. So to set up MFA using the Chrome extension, what will happen is you'll need to launch the Authenticator app on the Chrome extension, and then you need to highlight the code that's given when you're setting up your MFA, and then it'll generate the 6-digit MFA code for you, and then you enter it in. Okay, so basically that's how you enable your MFA. Again, you can only choose one option, so whether it's SMS or using Google Authenticator on your smartphone or using it on your Chrome. So once you have your MFA enabled, the next part is setting up a recovery PIN. So there's two options. We can generate a recovery PIN for you and just ensure you note it down somewhere. Otherwise, you can create your own recovery PIN. So why do you need a recovery PIN? It's generally if you lose, break, or cannot use your MFA device. So say, for example, you've lost your mobile phone and you need to revoke access. It basically in the Reckon portal, it'll prompt you to enter in your recovery PIN just to confirm that it's you that's revoking it, and then it'll delete it. Otherwise, you can also use the recovery PIN if you want to change devices. So say, for example, you don't want to use SMS text feature and you want to use the Authenticator app instead. You can revoke the access and then enter in that recovery PIN. Okay, so once you have MFA enabled, you basically click on Get Started, and it will then prompt you to enter in your ABN. And if relevant, you can also put your branch number. That's just an option. It's optional, so if that's only if you do have a branch number. Once you've entered in your ABN, click on Verify, and then what will happen is your company name will generate from the ABR register. So once you have all that information generated in, you click on Submit, and then it'll launch Reckon GovConnect. So the current screen you can see is the GovConnect application. You basically select which product you're using for Reckon to submit STP, and then save your settings. So that's basically it. So that's basically how you set up GovConnect STP. Just a little bit further information on GovConnect. So once you have that all set up, you will need to register your software ID to the ATO. So where to find your software ID? You can find it under the company name. Otherwise, you can go to company advisor information on the top right, and then you'll be able to find your software ID. So why do you need to register your software ID to the ATO? Basically, it's just it's basically if you you are authorizing Reckon to submit STP. So the ATO basically need to know which software provider you're using to submit STP. So otherwise, your submissions may get rejected if you don't register your software ID. So this is definitely an important step. So there's two ways you can register your software ID to the ATO. You can call the number, which is 1300-852-232. This number will prompt up, will come up when you set up your GovConnect. So that number again is 1300-852-232. And then you basically, they'll ask for a bit of information on your business, and then you give them the software ID and say that the company is, or software provider is Reckon. Otherwise, if you don't want to call and you do use the ATO Access Manager, you can also register your software ID that way as well, which is online. If you're using an accountant or bookkeeper or a tax agent or a BAS agent to do STP on your behalf, you can also add an advisor on GovConnect and then just put in their details. Okay, so if you need to share your STP entity, which is the white square here that has your company details, you can share it with other users or other staff members. You can click on the little three dots and then select share with user and then type in their username or email address and then click save. Once it's saved, it's basically successfully shared with the other user. And what will happen is under the user's details, they'll be able to see the STP entity shared under the Shared with Me tab. If you need to remove a user from STP, again, you go through the Shared with User step, and it'll bring you to the Manage Sharing window, and then you click on the bin icon to delete their access. Okay, so basically we've already covered how to create a GovConnect STP account. Now I'll go through the next step, which is enabling and configuring for STP in your company file and book. Okay, so just a reminder again, if you need to ask a question, go to slido.com and enter in the event code STP19. Okay, so I'll go through Reckon accounts hosted and desktop. So if you're still using the 2018 version of Reckon accounts, which is completely fine, basically you need to enable STP in payroll preferences. So when you go to edit then preferences, ensure that you are under the company preferences tab and then go to the payroll and employees menu and then enable single touch payroll. However, if you are using the 2019 version, there's no need to enable STP because it's already enabled for there. So the reason if you're using 2018 and you need to enable STP is just to ensure that you can process STP reports. Okay, so other things to check, just ensure that you have completed the company information field. So when you're in Reckon accounts, just ensure you go to company, then company information. Just ensuring that you've got the correct legal name and legal address completed. Also your company identification, so your ABN, and also the payroll information, so who the point of contact is. Just ensuring that you also complete the employee information. So just some key tips on what to check for each employee. So when you're in the employee list and you click on edit employee, just ensure that you've got the correct personal details of the employee, ensuring that you've got the correct address as well and contact details. There's no need for an email, but if you do, it's best to put it in there. And then when you change tabs to employment information, just ensure that you've allocated an employee number to each employee. So just to avoid any error submissions. If you're upgrading from 20 to the 2018 version, you can also adjust allowances tax tracking type as well, just so you differentiate allowances types. Okay, so with Reckon 1, there's no need to enable anything. Single touch payroll will already be there if you're using the payroll module. So when you're in settings and under the book settings, just ensure it's pretty much the same process, ensuring you've completed the company name or company details. So the legal name, the ABN, ensuring you also complete the legal address. If need be, you can also adjust the allowance types. So if any of your employees are paid allowances. And then just ensuring that you also complete all the employee details. So again, it's just checking all their contact details. and just ensuring under the employment tab that they're allocated an employee number. Okay, so basically that's covering how to so we've covered how to create a GovConnect STP, and then I've also just covered how to enable and configure STP in your company file for Reckon accounts and your Reckon One book. So basically the next step is completing the pay run and exporting the STP file. So if you need to ask a question again, just a reminder, you can go to slido.com and enter in the event code STP19. So I'll go through Reckon Accounts Hosted and Reckon Accounts Desktop first. Basically, to process STP, so within Reckon Accounts, you go to Employees and then process STP. You basically can choose which pay run and then tick the employees that are included, or you can just say select all and then lodge as well. Just to explain a bit further on this screen, so you'll notice that there's also a few other options. So if you're just doing a normal STP lodgement, basically you select all the employees and then select lodge to submit a normal STP submission. What the other options mean is if you select full file replacement, that's if anything in the STP file is corrupt or there's just too many errors within your previous submission, you can basically submit a full file replacement. There's also update event. So if you need to do minor details within an employee's pay or any other details within employee, you could submit an update event and it will update any previous submissions with the ATO. And then you'll notice that there's also finalize year. So that's just to finalize the end of financial year, which is your final report for that particular, particular financial year. So with terminated employees, what basically happens is once you process a termination payment, it actually automatically marks as a final pay event for the employee. And then you can also include them in the normal pay event, so you don't need to actually do a separate submission. And then within GovConnect, their pay will be marked as final as well. Okay, so once you've selected lodge, if you're doing a normal STP lodgement, what will happen is it'll export as a JSON file. So basically this JSON file contains all the pay run data that you'll need to upload to GovConnect. So for hosted, what happens is, I'll quickly go back. With hosted, it'll launch GovConnect once you've clicked OK. If you're using Reckon Accounts Desktop, you basically save the file within your computer and just ensure you remember where you've saved it as well. So again, it will then prompt you to launch GovConnect, and then you basically upload the JSON file. So I'll get into that in a moment. Now, how to submit STP within Reckon One. So basically everything within Reckon One, it's all online, so it's just a direct connectivity. So once you've submitted the pay run and you've submitted the STP, it'll link directly to GovConnect once you have prompted Reckon One to send all the information to GovConnect. So within Reckon One, say you've completed your pay runs, what you need to do next is click on Single Touch Payroll. So the Single Touch Payroll is under the Payroll menu. It'll bring up the list of employees. And then once you're happy with the information, basically you can send to GovConnect STP. You will then be prompted to also launch GovConnect, which takes us to our next step. So basically we've covered the first 4 steps. Now the final step is reviewing and submitting the payroll information in GovConnect. Okay, so with Reckon Accounts hosted, you can basically launch GovConnect and then also have direct access to the Q drive. So that JSON file will be saved to the Q drive. And then once you've launched GovConnect within hosted, you can upload that JSON file from the Q drive. So when you launch GovConnect, it'll prompt you to enter in your MFA. And then you basically upload the file. So if you've already done it in hosted within the Q drive, with Reckon Accounts Desktop, you can upload the JSON file that you have saved on your PC. So how to do this is once you've selected upload, you select which report type you want, so whether you want a new pay run or if you want to update a previous submission. You select the JSON file, and then all the details and the data will be uploaded within Reckon GovConnect. So within Reckon GovConnect, you can actually view into further details. So you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's a detailed column, and you can drill down into further detail, and it'll show you all the details of that particular pay run. It'll give a list of all the employees included in that pay run and just all the information. So their gross PYG, their super, also the total gross of the pay run and the total PYG, and also how many employees are counted within that pay run. Within each employee as well, you can drill down into further detail, and you can see the details of each individual employee. So, sorry, I just went a bit of ahead of myself. So if once you're happy with the with all the information within that pay run, it's a matter of selecting submit all so that all that information is sent to the ATO. It'll confirm a digital signature just to confirm that all the information is true and correct. And you basically type in your name here and then click on confirm. So that's basically how you submit STP. It'll say successfully submitted. You'll also notice that it'll say that the ATO status is pending. So what that means is you're just waiting on a response from the ATO, which can generally take up to 3 business days. And you basically can use Reckon GovConnect to check the status of your ATO submissions, your STP submission to the ATO. So with Reckon One, it's actually quite easy. So as I said earlier, everything is online and it's connected directly. So there's no need to upload any files. It'll say that it's ready to submit. You can drill down into further detail. Otherwise, it's just ready to submit the SCP to the ATO. And you submit. Lastly, I'll just cover the end of financial year process, so how to finalize the year at the end of financial year. So with Reckon Accounts hosted and desktop, basically it says here in the 2019 R1 and 2018 R2 in desktop and hosted, you can only use final pay event if your last pay has every employee included. So if one employee is not included when you have done STP, what you'll need to do is you actually need to upgrade to 2019 R2 version and then use the finalized year option. So with the 2019 version R2 of desktop and hosted, you do have the option of finalized year. So basically, all your employees paid throughout that financial year will be shown in the list. So whether they have been terminated or not, you can only use this finalize year option if you have previously submitted STP to the ATO. And also one thing to note as well, just ensure that you don't use both the emp dupe file and finalize year option when you're lodging it to the ATO, as this can double up the data with the employees, sorry, double up the employee's data to the ATO. Okay, so with Reckon 1, basically to finalize the year for STP, you basically go to the payroll menu and there's an option of single touch payroll end of financial year. Click on add on the right hand side, and then you can select which financial year you want to add, and then you just select add single touch payroll end of financial year report. So once you've added that in, basically it'll be in draft status and it'll show you the finalization date, the gross figure for the year to date, and then it's the same process as submitting STP. You basically submit to GovConnect. So once you're reviewed and submit to GovConnect, you can click on Send to GovConnect, and then you basically submit within GovConnect to do the end of financial year. Okay, so I'll basically go through the frequently asked questions. So these questions are basically collected from all the previous webinars we've done and any other STP events. So it's just to clarify any information you're not sure of. So the first question is, if I go on holiday, how do we submit STP? So there's two ways. You basically need to share your GovConnect STP with another staff member so that they'll be able to lodge STP on your behalf. Otherwise, you can actually submit pay events to the ATO in advance. So if you don't want any other staff members submitting STP, you can basically submit the pay events in advance. The next question, can the STP file be uploaded on the ATO business portal? Okay, so the answer is no. So the ATO business portal is a separate portal, and the ATO do not provide a portal to submit STP. The next question, what is the time frame to submit STP reporting after the pay run? So say you've completed the pay run, what is the time frame to submit STP? You basically need to submit STP on or before the day the employee expects to receive their pay. So generally we recommend to do it as soon as you completed the pay run. The next question is, can you have more than one person accessing a single GovConnect STP account? So yes, I have covered this in the webinar. You'll be able to, share the GovConnect STP, but basically the other user will need to have a separate Reckon portal login, as well as setting up their own MFA. The next question is, what if I find a mistake in one employee's pay after I've submitted STP? So at the next pay event, you can enter the correct amount, as the year-to-date figure will be updated when you submit it to the ATO. Or what you can do is you can edit the employee's pay within the Reckon software, and then you can create and submit an update event. So when you're in Reckon accounts hosted or desktop as well as Reckon 1, you can choose the update event option before you send it off to GovConnect. The next question is, what if I need to change my MFA device? So say, for example, you want to change from SMS to Google Authenticator, basically need to revoke your current MFA access on the Reckon portal. So just to explain further of how to revoke your access. So when you're in the Reckon portal, on the top right, there's a little man icon, which is profile. And then under the multi-factor authentication section, you click on revoke, and then you basically enter in the recovery PIN that you set up when you set up MFA in the first place, and then submit. Okay, so the last part before we go into questions is some common error messages and how to fix it. So these messages may occur when you're submitting STP within Reckon. So the first one will be enable to create subscription with STP. So when you're registering your ABN to create the GovConnect account, what this basically means is someone else has may have registered your ABN. Otherwise, it also may mean that your Reckon portal is incomplete. So what that Reckon portal information is incomplete, what that basically means is if you're using the single sign-on process, just say for example you use Gmail and you have a missing name, you basically need to fill out your full details on the Reckon portal. So again, go to profile on the top right and then enter in your details by clicking on edit. The next message is failed to save Payron event data. So this basically means that there may have been a corrupt JSON STP file due to invalid characters. So say, for example, there might be double quotation marks instead of single. The next message is instance payroll event payroll detail. So this is when you're submitting STP, sorry, when you're uploading the JSON file within GovConnect. So what that basically means is you may have submitted a pay event as a new pay run or full file replacement, rather than when you select the report type and then you should be you should be selecting the option updating a previous pay event. The next error message is pull request. So this is an ATO message. So that basically means is the ATO is experiencing extended processing times and you may need to check back later and then the status will be updated. How to edit company information on Reckon Gov Connect. So when you're in Reckon Gov Connect and you're under the company information, you'll notice that you won't be able to edit the company information details. So what you'll need to do is you need to go back to the Reckon software and under the company information, just basically update the details and then just export the STP file again and those details should be updated. There's a lot more single touch payroll frequently asked questions. We do have a single touch payroll webpage, which has a lot of other resources such as recorded webinars or any other upcoming STP events. So it also shows a whole lot of other frequently asked questions on STP. We also have the Reckon knowledge base. So anything that may have come up, such as an error message or anything like that, go to kb.reckon.com.au and search for STP so that you'll be able to find the solutions around the common error messages that might have happened. Other single touch payroll resources. So we do have a online Reckon Help Center and that gives a step-by-step guide on how to set up your STP within all products. So that website is help.reckon.com. Again, we've also got that single touch payroll webpage. And then if you need help with accounting or bookkeeping, we do have our Reckon Partner Network. So we have a lot of Reckon partners all over Australia. They're all certified to use all our Reckon products. And you can basically find a Reckon partner near you as well. We also have our YouTube channel. So basically this webinar will be on the YouTube channel within the day after the webinar session so that you can refer back to it if need be. Okay, so we'll now go into questions. Again, if you need to ask any questions during this session, you can go to slido.com and enter in the event code STP19. You can also vote if another attendee has asked the same question. Okay, so I've got also Rav with me, who is the community manager, who will be helping me out with questions. So give me one moment.
Okay, cool. We've got a few questions. Looks like they're all from Catherine, so that's awesome. We'll start from the top and we'll work our way down. Okay, so I have not been asked to register the recovery pin. Does this matter? So the recovery pin, you don't need to generate it yourself. The system will do that for you. What you can do though is set up your own recovery pin when you're setting up your STP entity. Now, if you don't know what that is, or if you can't recall the recovery pin, what you can do is go into the Reckon portal. Once you're logged in, click on My Profile in the top right corner, and then scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see a section there for multi-factor authentication, and your recovery pin will be there as well. You will need access to the current MFA to be able to view the recovery pin. So that is, like, if you've set up MFA on your mobile phone for SMS or with SMS or Google Authenticator, you'll need access to that to be able to view the recovery pin. Now, if you don't have access to any of that, if you need the recovery pin to actually revoke your existing MFA, you'll need to get in touch with our technical support team, and they'll be able to revoke your MFA if that's what you need. Okay, next question from Catherine is, after I register the company using the ABN, why is the address not shown? So don't worry too much about the address not being visible in the company and advisor section in your STP entity. All of that information, the address information, gets populated or populated in that area on your first submission, your first successful submission. So once you'll notice that after you do send a submission and it's been successful, you'll notice that the address has populated in that field, in that area. Okay, we already done the first pay run on 12 July. Can I submit STP for that pay run now? Already done the first pay run on 12 July. So, I mean, if you're referring to that you've already paid your employees, the thing is with STP, you need to lodge the submission on the paid date or before. So if you've got a new pay run coming up, if this is your new pay run, sorry, let me just, we've already done the first pay run on 12 July. Can I submit the STP for that pay run now? I'm probably going to need a bit more information on this, but you can submit your STP submission, but just bear in mind it needs to be submitted on the paid date or before. So obviously it's well after the 12th of July now. So if you've got a new pay run that's coming up soon, then you can upload your STP submission for that pay run coming up. STP is reported on a year-to-date basis. So once you do submit your next pay run, it's going to update your balances to the correct amount. Okay, after submitting STP, do we still need to lodge monthly PAYG and quarterly BAS? Yeah, so this area doesn't change with the addition of STP. So you just do everything that you do normally, with the addition of obviously your STP submissions at the end of your pay run when you on the date paid or before. Cool, I think we've run out of questions. Oh no, there's another one that's come through. We do fortnightly payroll. The next pay run is this Friday. How about the previous pay run done on 12 July? How do we cover the past pay run? Yeah, so I just covered this a little bit before. So if this is your first STP submission that you are about to upload, or you're intending to upload, you need to, I would start from your next pay run on Friday. Your prior pay run that was on the 12th of July, the balances for that are going to be covered because STP is reported on a year-to-date basis. So start from next Friday's pay run. Make sure that you do submit it on the date you pay your employees or before. Okay, and another new question is how to recover the password to the Reckon portal. So when you're logging into the Reckon portal, there's a link, I think it's about in the middle of the page, where it says, help, I've lost my sign-in details or something of that nature. Sorry, I don't know the exact phrase that it uses, but it's something of that nature. If you click on that, it's going to take you through the password reset process. You just need to put in your email address and it'll send you a password reset email. How do we report pay runs that have been completed prior to entering STP? How do we report pay runs that have been completed prior to entering STP? Okay, so I think this is sort of a little bit the same as Catherine's question. So if you have pay runs that you've completed before you've started using STP, you need to start entering your STP submissions from your next pay run. So STP is reported on a year-to-date basis. Anything that's happened in the past will be covered in this financial year, I should say, will be covered with your most recent submission. Many thanks. All my questions are all okay, cool. That's good to know. Thanks, Catherine. Okay, will the Reckon One Superstream function in STP overlap with the ATO Superstream clearinghouse that our client has been using before? I don't have the answer to that at this point. I'm not sure. It's something we'll probably have to get back to you on. If you could shoot us an email at training@reckon.com, we'll get back to you on that. Not something I have information on at this stage. Unfortunately, you've signed up using Microsoft, so we can't reset your password. Please sign in. Okay, yep. So if you've used one of the options in the Reckon portal, that is Google or Microsoft, basically that option, it ties your Reckon portal login is tied in with your Microsoft or your Google account. So in this case, it's Microsoft. So all you need to do is when you're signing into the portal, click on the sign in with Microsoft account button. That will take it, provided that you've already set it up previously, that will take you straight through. Now you can't reset your password for that account because it's actually using your Microsoft account or your Google account, but let's just say it's Microsoft in this case. So you can't, we can't reset the password for that account because it's not our account, it's a Microsoft account. So if you're having trouble with that password, if you don't know the password to your Microsoft account, you need to reset it from the Microsoft account's website. We've got info on this at help.reckon.com. It's in the sign in section in our help guide. But basically, it's just, if you've used the Google or the Microsoft option, click on the sign in with Microsoft button. It will take you straight through. If you don't know the password, it's something that you need to adjust or correct on the Microsoft account end. Okay, does the ATO penalize late reporting, i.e. if internet down and unable to lodge immediately? Look, from what we've been told, the ATO is going to be pretty lenient in the first few months of people adopting STP, but obviously if you are submitting STP reports late on a consistent basis after their sort of grace period expires, and to be honest, I can't really comment too much on that because that's on their end. There will be penalties for late submissions. So like I said, the ATO's legislation, from what we've been told, is you need to submit on the date paid or before, not after. Okay, do tax agent need to pay Reckon to help client with submitting the STP report, or the client should pay subscription and share with the tax agent? So what you need to do in this process, if you are as an agent need to or want to submit on behalf of your client, just the client needs to set up the STP entity, register the software ID with the ATO, And then you as a tax agent need to create a portal account as well. The client will then share their STP entity with you and also nominate you as an advisor. So there's a section in the STP entity called company and advisor info, and in that area they can nominate you as their nominated advisor. Once they've done that and shared it with you, you can then submit STP submissions on their behalf. All right, reached the end of the questions. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Rav. Again, if you have questions after this webinar, please feel free to email training@reckon.com, and then one of us will get back to you. So thank you again, everyone, for joining our webinar today. We'll send out a link to the recording, which is on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/ReckonLTD. Thanks again.